Hey guys, it's Susan from Succulents, and it is Sunday and it's a beautiful day. There's my doggies chilling out. So yesterday, my beheading video, I realised that there's a lot of beginners out there, and you guys found it really informative. So it made me think that perhaps I sort of skimmed over some stuff that might have been beneficial to understand or just elaborate a little bit more. So I thought I'd do a part 2. You remember this one? I've decided I'm going to chop it up and reset it and show you some others that I've resetted and where I've cut them from. Alright, as usual, stay tuned. So before I move on to what I wanted to discuss, let's just go back to this plant that I showed you yesterday, because in hindsight, and from a comment from one of you lovely ladies, I realised I didn't elaborate on why it's important to leave a few leaves, and that's basically, it just keeps the plant happy and it does its photosynthesis stuff, and eventually these leaves will go. So it doesn't look great at the moment, but it will when I'm done with it. Anyway, so I found some pots that's sort of forgotten about where I've done a beheading without leaving leaves. And look, that little baby is barely hanging on. I wouldn't even be surprised if I can see a mealy in there, to be honest. But the original plant and the stub have got nothing to do its business with some leaves. So if you look at that size and compare it to the size of that bulb, that one has happened in the last 3 weeks, and this one I've had for quite a while. So I think that's a good example of why, if you don't leave a few leaves, it's not going to be that successful, or it might be just a really slower process. These two are from the same piece. My friend Josie from Josie's Succulents, she gave me this cutting, I guess. It was rooted, but it wasn't in the best condition. So I took off the head, and that's now rooted and flourishing quite well. And the remainder of it, without leaves, has thrown pups. But they look a little bit sorry, don't they? Not much is happening. So that's an example of why I think it's better to leave a few leaves on. As I'll explain with some other plants soon, you eventually just remove these leaves and manipulate the way the plant's growing to give you bulbs where you want it. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so the first one I want to show you is Graptivaria tricolor, and these are little pups that I've just recently harvested, and so they're fresh cuttings and there's no roots yet. So what I've done is I've just put them on some top dressing, and I do that so when it is time to water, the water has a barrier between the soil and the bottom leaves so they don't get manky. So a lot like this, just regular potting soil. I mix a bit of sand in there to make it a bit gritty, and that's how I begin. Okay, so next is this pot of Mendozas. Doesn't that look sweet? All the little tiny little faces, nice and low, really miniature and cute. Well, I got them from these pots. So these were from propagation, and they had gotten leggy. So you can see I really stripped that of all the best heads. And these are now ugly ones, and they're going to be breeders. They'll just keep throwing little pups that I'll just keep stealing. So put these aside in a place that you're not going to look at all the time, and come back to them periodically, like every couple of weeks, and you'll be surprised what what's appeared. Okay, so recently I cut down some Rubbertinctum Aurora jelly beans, everyone's favourite, especially the pink ones. Doesn't that look sweet? These are just a bunch of little heads, so how I got those is from a pot like this, and I just cut it off about there, removed a leaf or two and snip, that sort of thing. So you can see in this pot I've taken a lot out of it. I've got several like that, so with the cuttings of the best bits I've placed them in a new pot. So you can see as that grows, that's going to really fill out and look really bushy and dense. I love that word dense when it comes to succulents. So, and this one is just going to look really sweet. They're really young, that's why they've got that adorable baby pink sort of blush to them. Okay, so now it's time to assess this and decide where we're going to make our cuts and what we're going to take. So I've decided I'm going to take all of them. If I'm going to take the beauty away from this plant, I might as well just go for it. So that head, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Now the decision is to decide where, and as I was discussing yesterday, you want to take a part of the head that's the most fullest. So like that looks good, and underneath it's a bit leggy, right? So it's a bit tricky holding my camera and filming this, but I will do my best. Oops, okay, there's one, looks pretty good, right? Okay, so same principle. You want to leave a bit of the stem so you can use that to ground. Sorry about the light, let's just do it. I can't film this well. Okay, they're off, they're done. So let's have a look at them. Okay, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Okay, so I've gotten down low to try and capture this as best I can with my iPhone and doing this one-handed. So let's have a look at these. I think it would be good to remove that leaf there to give it something to hang on to support it in the pot. Voila. Look, I'm going to just stop recording and do it and put it in just to show you, because this is really tricky one-handed. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I've taken some leaves from the bottom just to give it a little bit of a stub of a stem to use that to secure it in. So I've left that one spot left for that one. And there we go. Now I've set them in a new pot, and I'm just going to leave them for a few weeks and let them root up. Keep them out of direct sunlight, maybe a little morning light, and in a few weeks that will start to, root in and become a pretty arrangement. Obviously you can mix and match your different heads and have a little fun with your creativity. And then there's a few leaves, so I'll use those for propagating. Now let's go back to the original pot. So these we must keep dry now until they callus over where we've cut them, and I'm just going to let it recover, and without a doubt there'll be a baby somewhere near that top point. But we want to sort of promote more pups and along the stems, because the stems now are just sort of leggy, aren't they? So I wouldn't take all of them off, but I'd take a few. Just twist, and so hopefully a pup will grow where that leaf was. Twist, And with time, you just sort of keep taking a few off and manipulating the plant and encouraging growth in certain spots. I'll show you on another plant that I've done as an example what I'm talking about. Hold on. This is probably the best example I can show you just quickly. See that bulb there? That's because I removed a leaf. That's from the head chop. Same here. That's the head chop. That's just happening because, you know, they do grow above the leaves as well, but they will grow in spots you remove leaves often. Not guaranteed, but often. So I'll just keep, you know, every week or so I might just take an extra one off and encourage some growth there. And then with time, this whole stem should be full of babies and look really full and plump. Or if it doesn't, you just take these babies off when they mature and reset them, like what we've been doing before. So I hope that makes sense. So here's another one where I've beheaded it, and this is grown from the center point, or in the center point proximity. But I want to encourage more, so I'm going to just take these off and maybe, you know, collect them, throw them back in the pot, whatever. You can use them for propagation. Keep that dry, and let's come back and see if we get new pups. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video. Okay, and let's try a similar thing with this pot. So this one here has 2 new heads. So let's take a few more off. Oops. I really can't do this one-handed well. I feel like an amateur. Okay, so I've taken a few off, about 4. I lost one, fell down somewhere. So I think if a new bulb appears around the top there, that's going to look really pretty. This one, not much is happening here. So I've heard another technique is where you just twist them slightly, like where they're about to nearly fall off, and that can encourage some growth as well. But I do find if it's raining and it hasn't healed properly, you could rot that point. I'll show you one last one that's been a success, though it's quite tiny, and I didn't leave any leaves, but it's done really well, and that's a Morning Beauty. So I think it might be time to pop the top one off because the stem looks a little bit rotty, if you know what I mean. Maybe just trim that stem completely off. So before I go, I just want to thank everybody who watches my videos and who've made comments, and I'm really it's really touching actually when I hear that I've given people some advice that works for them or some encouragement. Disclaimer, I'm just one of you guys. You know, I've been doing this for a few years and I just enjoy talking about succulents, and what a better way than just rambling to myself in my backyard and filming it and then turning it into a video. Alright, it's been a long day. I've got to go edit all this. Bye.